Here is the fictional story of the guy. Every small town has its legends, but not every legend stays in the shadows. This is the story of the guy in the mountains. I grew up in a small town surrounded by mountains, peaceful and quiet until the sun set. Everyone knew the stories. They called him the guy. Not a monster, not a ghost, just the guy. No one knew his real name, but everyone knew what he did. He lived up in the mountains, watching. Always watching and waiting. My parents warned me, stay inside after dark. They'd say, don't wander off. They never explained why. They didn't have to. The older kids told us everything. The guy comes down from the mountains when the moon is full. He hides in the trees, watching, waiting. If he sees you, he takes you, and you never come back. I thought it was just a story, something to keep kids in line. Until that summer. It was a hot night, and I couldn't sleep. I was sleeping over at my best friend Kaylin's house. Her house was nestled into the foothills of the mountain, where the guy lived. The moon hung low, lighting up her backyard. The window was open, and I could hear the rustling of leaves. Normal sounds, or so I thought. But then, I saw him. At first, it was just shadows in the trees, but shadows don't move like that. They don't stare. He was tall, thin, with wild hair and a dirty coat that hung loose on his frame. His eyes, they gleamed, reflecting the moonlight like a predator's. He stood at the edge of the woods, half hidden, half revealed, watching. I froze. My heart pounded so hard I thought he'd hear it. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't make a sound. Then he moved. He stepped closer to the house, slowly, carefully, as if he didn't want to scare me too soon, but I knew who he was. I backed away from the window, my eyes locked on him, but as I moved, the floor creaked. He stopped. His head snapped up from outside. Our eyes met. That's when I saw his mouth. A crooked smile, wide and hungry, like he knew he'd been seen and it didn't matter anymore. I ran down the hall into my friend's parents' room. I couldn't speak. I couldn't explain. I just pointed to the window. Her dad grabbed a flashlight and headed outside. He didn't find anything, just trees and shadows, but I knew what I saw. The next day, I told my friend and the other kids, and they believed me. You're lucky, one of them said. If you'd stayed at the window, he would have taken you. After that night, I never left the windows open again. I didn't sleep in a tent or on the trampoline or out under the stars at all the rest of that summer. I didn't even sleep with the curtains drawn. And every time the wind rustled in the trees or the moonlight cast long shadows, I wondered, was he still out there, watching? Because that's the thing about the guy. He's patient. He waits. And when you think you're safe, that's when he comes back. Some legends are just stories, but others, well, they have a way of sticking around. So tonight, close your windows, draw your curtains, and remember, the guy is always watching.